people to get me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You gotta
Yeah.
watch the dust storms in Arizona, bro. Damn, people are
Yeah.
no. Yep, and I know the PC terminology now is Tuscan Raider, but I don't care.
That's good.
I'm not woke like that, you know.
I thought the phrasing used to they call them haboobs now.
Is that what they call them? Oh,
I think haboobs also include like rain.
uh, oh yeah, that's right. They call them haboobs. Yeah, dude, it's a freaking dust storm. It's just a dust storm, man.
Yeah,
It's a
no, I
bunch
think
of dust
haboobs also have
blowing in the air. That's all it is, man. This is dust. All right, everybody, welcome to the Real Shacks podcast. It is, of course, your humble host, Rob, with his co-host, Luke. What is going on, huh? Right, Luke?
going good. How about you?
It is going awesome. We got a great show for you here today. We're going to be talking about the new Wicked movie. I have a review to do of the Wolverine versus Deadpool movie.
Okay.
We're going to be discussing, of course, Game of Thrones. And we're going to be talking about the Borderlands movie that just came out as well. So let's get started. All right, Luke, let's get into some of the movie news. So some of these articles I found today were really, really funny. One of the first ones I found, Luke, that I thought we should discuss. I mean, this one really got to me, man, because like I was like, I won't lie, I do this all the time when I'm online now, and that's watch funny cat videos.
Yeah, everybody does that.
But what if I told you now that people are going to movie theaters to watch cat videos?
Okay.
So this is a Variety article I found, and basically Will Brandon is the he was helped by this company called Walker Art Center in Minneapolis. And he took over the production of this in 2016, but he's been going to theaters and playing cat videos. 73 minutes of nonstop cat videos for audiences. And let me just say, too, this guy watches over 15,000 cat videos per year and selects about 200 per reel. So, right. I mean, Luke, what have we? Is that awesome? What a way to capitalize, or is that a this is how far we've come?
Yeah. Man, this reminds me like this was maybe like 2005 or whatever. Like Patton Oswalt had a bit about like YouTube, and he was talking about how like we used to have like when movies first came out, all they would do is like they would show like a train or you would see a guy on a horse, and then as time went on, we started to like write plots that were happening, and like they'd be short films, and then they made full length films, and then they started to add like more special effects, and now we have our films, and then now with YouTube, like we're back to watching the trains, like we're now just. And now we've hit that. Now we're back to going to the movie theaters to like watch, like just a dude on screen.
But I like cat videos, and I won't lie.
I like cat videos too.
The atmosphere this brings apparently is it brings a lot of many feline lovers having a good time at the movies. It says here. Yeah. It says that the fun and the laugh with the kids, man. It's a great atmosphere.
So, like, what is are they buying a ticket to go watch cat videos?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know about buying a ticket. I mean, that's like out here, that'd be like $18.
It'd probably be expensive, but
its 2024 edition, held in August 3rd and 4th, netted over $280,000, doubling its 2023 gross of raising nearly $30,000 from the local animal shelters and welfare organizations.
Well, that's fun.
Right? So, at least you go somewhere.
Yeah.
So you think good, nice, wholesome idea, or my God, this is what we've come to?
I think it is a sense of like, what the hell are we doing here? But, what can we do, really? If people are getting into the theater, that's fine. I think that's fine.
That's kind of my idea too. Is like good for the theater. At least this is good for the. I'm trying to think of the overall like what is the good wholesome point here? And it's to get people in the theater, bring that sense of community back. While I don't agree with it being cat videos, I like the idea of, like, I saw recently at the theater I was at, they're going to be showing some of the old Alien movies. They're going to be showing some old Disney movies as well, just for a couple days in the theaters to go back and experience it. So it's like, that's cool. I like that idea. Not spending, like for a new movie, but it works.
I think so, yeah.
So I'm down with it. So let's go ahead and move on here. Let's get to my next article here that I wanted to talk about. Oh man, let's see. Okay, here we go. We have a new biopic on the way, and it's for a, usually biopics are done by an. I'm making a horrible joke here. I'm not gonna lie. Usually biopics are done, when that person has passed on or that person is like, gone away. And this one, of course, is going to be about one that's still alive, but I guess they're making it because maybe they think he's that close. And that's going to be a complete unknown. The new Bob Dylan movie with Timothy Shyamalan. Going to be playing Bob Dylan. And for those of you who want to know, I actually looked it up because I saw the trailer recently when I went to the theater, and I was taken back because, okay, come on, let's not lie. On this podcast, I have given Timothy Chalamet a lot of props. I loved him in The King. I like Dune. Everything he's done so far, I've really, really enjoyed. And there was just something about this one I was just like, and I'm a big Bob Dylan fan, and there's just something about this one I was just like, oh, really? Like, really, really? Is that really him? Because his voice is not bad. So I looked it up. So for those of you who just want to know right off the bat, yes, it is really, really him singing and playing the guitar in A Complete Unknown. He trained with experts for an authentic performance. So, I don't really have too much to say on that. Kudos to that, but I just don't know, Luke. I don't know. I mean, am I getting the Ben Affleck effect here? Am I seeing him too much in films now? Are we going to be getting that soon of Mr. Shyamalan?
I think, I'm okay with this. I think if there is going to be somebody to play Bob Dylan, Chalamet seems like the right guy to do it.
Interesting. Because we already had a Bob Dylan movie.
We had
remember that?
Yeah, it was. Well, nobody remembers this, so it's okay. It was like, because wasn't it like
it was different actors playing Bob Dylan,
including Heath Ledger, actually.
Yes, and actually, I believe that is why they had to have different people in the movie because of his untimely death. Let's see here. That movie was, I'm trying to find it here, 2007's I'm Not There.
I'm Not There.
That was that movie. Had an interesting cast as well. Had Cate Blanchett, Richard Gere, Heath Ledger, of course, Christian Bale, Julianne Moore, Michelle Williams, Marcus Carl Franklin, Ben Whishaw, Charlotte Gainsbourg, Bruce Greenwood, and David Cross was in it as well. It gets a pretty high rating, Luke. It gets about a 3.5 stars here. 6 out of 10. I remember this film, and I, to be honest with you, I didn't really care for it either. I thought it was just like random scenes with Bob Dylan, different people playing Bob Dylan, and apparently, I remember the biggest controversy was they thought the girl did the best job of playing Bob Dylan, and everyone was like, "What? How could a woman be better at playing Bob Dylan?" So, that was interesting. So, what do you think about this one, though? You think this one's going to be good?
Probably not.
No, why do you say that?
Actually, I don't. I don't know. Because I was gonna say that like there's no good music biopics, but with where the artist is still alive, but that's not true because Walk the Line, both Walk the Line and Ray were made when the artists were alive. I
think Johnny Cash was dead when Walk the Line was done. To be fair.
Let
me see. I'll check that right now.
I think in both cases they had started when they were
alive. Yeah, okay, I can buy that. I definitely know that Jamie Foxx lived with Ray.
He lived. Yeah, he studied with him, but he did die like during the filming. I want to say something like that. But also, I think Rocket Man was pretty well received. That was the Elton John.
Man.
That was which I think was, I think it was still pretty
The
well.
Disney movie?
Yeah, God, I love that movie.
Me too.
But yeah, Elton John is still alive, and I mean, I guess because I don't know much about Bob Dylan's life. I'm assuming he had, drug addictions like everybody else.
Like everyone else from that time era,
Exactly.
They all.
So maybe good.
I think it's going to be good, but I'm at the same time, I don't know why. I'm just feeling kind of burned out because Elvis was pretty good. So I don't know. I'm
Elvis
just a little
was good, and I think what Elvis did really good was that it went for a more symbolic type of film. It was much more stylish, obviously because of Baz Luhrmann. It wasn't just a one-to-one. It wasn't like a history movie, because they're like movies about like historical events, which is what these biopics try to be. And Elvis was not that, which I thought was good. Because I personally thought that the whole genre like almost was killed by Dewey Cox. The same way.
I was just thinking that the whole time. Like, that scene with Bob Dylan when he's talking and then he's just they're like, why do you sound like Bob Dylan? He's like, let me ask you, why does Bob Dylan sound like me?
Or just, it's like I couldn't get over. Like I remember watching like Bohemian Rhapsody, feeling that exact same vibe of like you're 18, it's like I'm 18-year-old Freddie Mercury, and I'm just, I'm good. So it was like when Dewey Cox are just like I'm 18-year-old Dewey Cox, or I'm Elvis. Stuff like that. Like I didn't know the Beatles were fighting. I thought like after Dewey Cox, it was like I just could not take any biopic seriously because it was all it cracked the code. Funny. It felt the same way. Like we need more and less blankets.
Right, it really did.
Like, I'm sure we'll get
what y'all doing? He's like, we're doing uppers and downers. It's your next logical step.
You don't want none of this, Dewey Cox.
So
he didn't pay us anything. I had to ask the monkey for a loan.
Yes, for those of you who don't know the movie we're referencing, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, was a movie done by John C. Reilly, in which he did all the singing himself too. Yeah, and the songs were not bad, actually. Yeah, I thought the songs were kind of creative.
He's a song and dance. He was on Broadway. He's been on Broadway, I think, or maybe not, but like he's been a Broadway guy. But yeah, it's like you watch Dewey Cox, it's hard to watch any other musician biopic. But we'll see. I'm sure, like, again, I imagine we're going to get the same thing. We're going to get him in, like, the bars. He's going to, like, be building up his reputation. There's going to be all the stuff with him doing drugs and tweaking out. And
he needs more blankets and less blankets.
This is my thing about...
Let me bring on our other co-host here, Luke.
Okay.
Calling Mr. Steve here.
Yo.
What's up? So, Steve, we're discussing the new... And Steve, everybody, for our Real Sharks audience, our other co-host, Steve. Oh, look, he's got some new nice glasses on. Look at that. God, he's styling. He's styling just like the article we're talking about here, which is the new Bob Dylan biopic. But we were kind of discussing, though, Steve. Do you agree that Dewey Cox, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, has destroyed a lot of... musical biopics such as like Ray and Walk the Line, and kind of spilled over into other movies too? Because Luke was making the argument it's hard to take a biopic seriously because most of them kind of follow the same formula of, the guy, he makes the hits, then he gets on drugs, then he meets his first wife, then maybe a second, third one if he has time.
Yes. Yeah.
One of them dies maybe. But it's all the same kind of formula. Even though it's good, it makes for good movies.
They'll also brush over any of the girlfriends that they hit. They won't.
Right? Yeah. Any domestic violence, we'll probably show like one instance of it, or we'll just talk about like, he had some run-ins or whatever.
If they can avoid talking about the age gap of some of them, they'll try to as well.
They did that with Elvis.
I was gonna say when they made Priscilla, I'm pretty sure they brushed right over that, and I was like, oh, okay. Even though in Great Balls of Fire, I believe that they kind of discussed that too,
Oh,
right?
the Jerry Lee Lewis one was fun.
That was funny, actually.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't supposed to be, but it was funny.
Yeah. But yeah. So on the topic of Bob Dylan, my only hesitation with this, and they did pick a great. I did think they picked a good choice with Timothy Chalamet. My other thing is, as much as I love Bob Dylan's music, he does represent a kind of like self-important persona that like the worst type of artsy male latched
Dude,
onto.
You
oh,
think
my
so,
man.
huh?
Dude, he is the ultimate, like, believes his own hype
Yeah.
man. You
And
know?
it's like, it
Interesting.
makes funny because those types of people seem to be emphasizing guys who look like Timothy Chalamet. So I'm just like, we don't need this. We don't need round two of that.
Okay,
But
speaking of not needing rounds, what about another round? I'm going to try to put this very nicely because while I'm not dissing the movie, I am dissing this. I putting this movie out there right now because I feel like it's not needed. So I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash on this. So they're making Wicked 2024. I have nothing wrong with Wicked. I've seen Wicked. I know it's a Broadway. I know it's a Broadway play musical. But this is another movie about basically, and I'm just wrapping it in a nutshell here because we talk about this a lot, these themes that movies go down, and this is another one I feel like that's trying to make a justification for why the Wicked Witch of the West, played by Cynthia Erivo as Alberta, they're trying to make why the Wicked Witch is evil, just like James Franco's one as well. And I just, you look at you guys, your faces are like, why are we even talking about it? Exactly. Why? What is this
What are they
justification?
doing?
Is the justification of villains over? Is that era over? Are we tired of watching villains be justified now?
Then why are they villains at that point?
Directed by John M. Chu, by the way. Writers by L. Frank Byram, Winnie Holzman, Gregory Maguire. Stars Cynthia Ario, Ariana Grande, and Jonathan Bailey. So, also too, let me just, Mr. Ian Malcolm there. Jeff Goldblum makes an appearance too as Oz in this film as well. So, are we not excited, gentlemen? Is this movie not like up your alley? Are you not wanting to see another rendition of Oz and why Glenda and the Wicked Witch of the West, as we've always known her, even though they keep calling her other things, is
Right.
how it happened, how it came to be, and by this one, it's not loved by James Franco, because James Franco love apparently makes you a wicked witch. That's what that other movie really was emphasizing.
Just throwing on one guy.
So, what do you guys think?
I'm not. I mean, I've seen the musical, and it is funny you say that like this is kind of the end of it because the book kind of started the trend when it first came out, which was like 2002 or something.
Yeah.
When they then adapted into a musical, which it looks like they're focusing mostly on the musical version and not like adapting parts of the book. I could be wrong, though it does. Though I feel that they very specifically were trying to downplay that this is a musical in the trailers. I could be wrong. It felt like they were not emphasizing.
It didn't seem like a musical.
No, it seemed like a story, right?
Yeah.
Which like they do all the time. They did that with there was like the most recent Mean Girls movie was a musical because like the Mean Girl because it was based off of the musical adaptation of Mean Girls. It's like they did not include in any of the trailers, which is crazy.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage is also in this movie too.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
I mean, I'm assuming he's a village kid.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. I didn't even mean to. Well, yeah. Well, it's like obvious.
I mean, like
it's
what?
Obvious.
I mean, what do you think it is? Like, why?
Well, hopefully they don't do like a Tim Burton and just make him every member of the Lollipop Guild's face.
Oh, yeah.
It'd just be Peter
Or
Dinklage.
you know what? Maybe do that.
You know what? Yeah, never mind. That does sound like a good idea.
That would actually be kind of cool to see just a bunch of Peter Dinklages.
Just talking.
That'd be kind of cool.
Singing.
Yeah. Just go lazy with. Why are they doing this, dude? Like, I understand a lot of actors and actresses are like upset with Hollywood for doing a lot of this, you know. But this is again is like such an egregious. Like, okay, we get it, we understand what you're doing, but like to the detriment of a movie. And do we need this? Also,
That's what I'm saying. I feel like
it's like, Rob, why do they keep going back to the Wizard of Oz well so many times?
Right, and they just pull it out so wrong. I want to pull it out to some kind of horror, you know, but it's like, this is what we get.
Yeah, no, you're getting this. You're getting this, and then you're probably gonna get Tim Burton going like, I want to revisit, you know, again. It's like you never know.
Oh yeah,
right?
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I'm sorry. The more trailers that come out about it, the more I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I'm not gonna lie, guys.
It doesn't look particularly good.
No. It looks loaded. It looks like, again, like, and you know what? That's the worst thing you can do in a sequel nowadays that everyone should learn. I mean, I think Tim Burton should know that after doing Planet of the Apes, is that you shouldn't load the movie so much with everything. Like it's gonna be the last film you've ever made.
Yeah. And it's like, and throw so much in your trailer as well.
Yeah, because I feel like it's given away a lot, and that's usually a bad thing. Yeah. So let's go ahead and move on here, guys, because I have quite a funny little article to get to you guys. So let me go ahead and put this in our little chat here, because this one was a beauty, man. Because I think, and I want to call this now officially before anybody coins this phrase. And I haven't seen it, and Rob is going to coin it. I'm going to call this the Fallout effect. And that is because I feel like any video game movie that comes out now, you are going to be having to meet a high bar. Because right now, that new Borderlands movie that came out starring Kevin Hart here, it debuted at 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not off to a good start. And so far, it's over 20 reviews have been tallied, and astonishing consensus from people who pretty much have nothing but negative things to say about it. So I played Borderlands. I just like Fallout, but I never thought there was a story there. I thought it was just about guns. And
it was just like, guns, right? Running around,
guns and shooting each other.
No, there are plots.
I'm sure there is.
But it's like very loosely, like it's really not about.
Like there are like characters, there are like factions, and there's like world building, like where and I think there's like there's elements of like, because it's not like post-apocalyptic world. It's like there's like alien space travel. I'm probably completely off base, but yeah, there's stuff to it. There's world building and all that.
Right. I agree, and I've played the third one, and that was the only one I ever really played. But so far I saw the trailer to this one. You had Jack Black as the robot. You had some other star-studded cast members in here, but so far I even thought, just watching the trailer, like, ooh, this doesn't look very good. Like, it looks very shallow, just almost like a double dragon is what I want to call it, where you just kind of throw a bunch of crap up in there, catch it there, put it in a reel, say, here you go. Like,
Double Dragon was tight.
That's what it kind of looked like to me. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree, but
you know what this reminds me of, Rob? It reminds me, I know this is a very hot topic, but is this movie made by AI? Because I saw the trailer and I was like, what's the difference between actors playing a role in like a video game world, like you have Fallout, and then like this, which is just like actors cosplaying? You know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't feel like anything. I'm not even a big Borderlands fan, dude, but I'm like, this, like.
So as of now, it has 6% on Rotten Tomatoes, 4.6 out of 10, 3 out of 10 on IGN. 44% of people liked this movie. Director Eli Roth. That's interesting. Eli Roth is the director of this movie.
Oh, no.
That's funny because, well, Eli Roth has some hit or miss, I mean, he did do.
I believe that he has way more misses than hits.
Yeah, lots.
Hostel's a cult favorite. Inglourious Bastard's awesome. I personally like Cabin Fever.
Yeah, but I also think we have to remember what his wheelhouse is. Is that like his wheelhouse was always schlock horror. Now maybe there was a world where like the violence of Borderlands could translate to a much more like a broad appeal in a non-horror setting. I don't think Eli Roth has proven that he can do that, because I don't think he is good outside of his very specific wheelhouse. I think even something like, what is it? The fucking hated it, the Green Inferno or whatever.
Oh yeah, the homage to Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah,
Like he just try. It's ridiculous. He is a very one-trick pony. So
yes.
I am not shocked that when given probably his first real proper big budget film, which I'm assuming he probably just had to do he did for money, because
budget of 110, 120 million. Distributed, of course, by his biggest backer, Lionsgate.
So, I mean, in a war, there's a scenario
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah,
Bobby Lee, Kate Blanchett, Gina Gershon, and Ariana Greenblatt. I mean, you have bunny ears on people, Luke. How much more Borderlands can this get?
I know, right? As like, you're not hyped for that.
So not. Oh, Jack Black is in this movie too. So
he's the robot. He's the little robot that appears.
Man, Jack Black is really like cleaning up on all these video game adaptations, huh?
And voice acting. I love it, dude. I hate to tell you this, but I love Jack Black as a voice actor. I think he's great.
Yeah, you know what's so funny though. And again, we're on this topic of it, and Jack Black. He's supposed to be scheduled for the new Minecraft movie coming out early next year as well. And you know what? Maybe you're right, Rob. Like you said at the top of the program here, it's like, hey, is it really a Fallout effect or like a Last of Us effect where they're just like, do everything? You know what I mean? Let's just go balls to the wall. We're gonna visually. Like, oh, you guys like the girl with the bunny ears? I don't even know who she is, but she's there. I don't even, you know what I mean? The guy with the mask, I know that's like the little mascot for the show, and the little robot. We'll just have them do like preteen, like teenager, like fart jokes, maybe blow up a couple of people, not really have a story. I don't know. It's just something about it seems very
shallow. It seems shallow.
Yeah, it just seems shallow. It does seem like the AI was like, this is the game, here's the characters, this is what they look like, that's the story, make something of it. Put a bunch of like big names, Jamie Lee Curtis and Kevin Hart, put a bunch of people in there that are like the it people now, and then hopefully it'll do good. They're those cross their fingers.
Interesting. All right. So speaking of one-note ponies, so apparently M. Night Shyamalan has taken some crap on his latest movie, Trapped. Starring Josh Hartnett, the story of a serial killer, basically that gets wary of the trap the police are setting for him in a concert. Apparently, it's not doing as good as I guess Mr. M. Night had hoped. But he's taking a lot of crap here. This article I pulled up is, about he's his own worst enemy, and twists are not everything, M. Night. So, do you guys think M. Night has run aground? I mean, that beach movie too didn't do too well either. Yeah. The one about people on the beach where they get the age old, and everything like that.
Yeah, old.
What? Well, actually, I'm trying to remember what brought him back, because everybody thought he was also gone before.
I think a knock at the cabin.
The Last Airbender, I thought, destroyed him for good. I thought he was done after that.
I really thought so too, but then he came out with the split and glass.
Like, the split. Yeah, well. that kind of bumped him back.
And
guys, what about the village? What about The Happening?
You know what? I love that.
Oh no! So this is
Lady in the Water.
This is what happened. So he did. So after Signs. Definitely everybody, as much as everybody hated the plot twist, that was like a solid.
I like that movie.
It was good.
Still generally. Then he did The Village.
Shout out to Steve's mom. I know she loves that movie, right, Steve?
She does love it.
He did The Village, which was an interesting film until we revealed the plot twist.
Yeah.
Then
it got stupid.
And then it was like.
Then after The Village, there was Lady in the Water, where people were like, "What the fuck?"
I thought it was okay.
It was It kind of. And then of course The Happening. Which was like,
but you can't forget his masterpiece, Chef Kiss, of course, which is The Sixth Sense.
I like that movie.
After Happening, The Last Airbender, and After Earth, and then after that, like, poof. And then he jumped. Okay, yeah. So I think it was Split that really. No, I think there was a movie called The Visit.
Yeah, The Visit.
I didn't see that, but I know that it was well received. And then Split came around, and I kind of bumped it back. So maybe with Trap, it's kind of he's back in that.
They say he's experimenting. That was the whole difference in this movie, was that Trapped is apparently different. However, people still didn't like it, and I have not seen the film to judge it. So,
do you guys think that, again, M. Night Shyamalan is such a interesting guy, because like Luke is saying, like it comes in such a big wave where people hate him, they love him, then they hate him. They don't even. It's not even like, oh, they dislike it. They hate the guy. Then he comes back and people are like, oh, he's doing well with Split and The Glass and stuff. And then he did The Watchers that came out recently with that movie, like Rob is saying, Old. That did bad. The Watchers did bad. And now this one. So that's 3. It seems to be in 3s with this guy.
I do not know the mind of M. Night Shyamalan. He is he contains multitudes, as we know.
Yeah.
But this does seem to kind of be a very classic sense of a guy who maybe gets a little bit too high on his own supply, who suddenly who gets some wins, who gets some hits. He then decides he's untouchable. He decides that every stupid thing in his head can come out. He doesn't need to filter it. He doesn't need any what's the word? Feedback or quality control or anything like that. And then boom, we get back to here. So granted, the budget right now of Trap was $30 million. It's already made $25 million at the box office with this first week. So if it holds out, it could make its money back. So I mean,
people will hate watch it.
Yeah,
people hate watch.
And then if it makes
they're gonna watch it just to hate on M. Night, which is pretty much what they do.
They do it, they do it.
They're hoping he's gonna in the middle of the movie. There's gonna be the real Last Airbender movie. They're gonna be like, there it is.
That would be so good.
Just all of a sudden you just see this image, and then they're really doing the real moves, the fire, and they're like, I knew there was no dancing. He knew what he was doing.
That's honestly, the concept for Trap is interesting because it's about
it's great. I think
it's a serial killer at what is arguably a Taylor Swift concert, trying to be content. That's interesting. It's certainly an interesting idea.
Real world too. Did you hear about all the Swifties? Upset, because they had to cancel the concert.
Had to cancel it.
Well, I'm sorry.
There was a terrorist attack. That's crazy.
This is going to be another one of those. Should this be a movie? So when I heard this, the first thing I thought, and I'm not making fun of anything, all I'm just saying is I imagine an intense SWAT just busting into a house, and you got the dun 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 dun, and then you got the them looking around and not seeing everything. Obviously the perp is gone, and the detectives walk in. We can talk about who plays them later, but all of a sudden they just read the plan and they're like, my God, what a monster! And they're like, what is it? And he's all like, do you see what his target is? What? Whew, it's Taylor Swift concert. And they're like, the Swifties?
Yeah. And then as soon as he does that, when he goes and he realizes it, I want the alien alarm sound to just blare in the trailer while it's zooming in slowly on Taylor Swift.
I know. Maybe poor timing, but I'm just saying. I just thought that. No, come on. They stopped it. So
they stopped it.
They stopped it. Let's have some light here. Let's celebrate the fact they stopped it. So that's a good thing. But that would be my movie. I think this is going to be a movie one day. You talk about that biopic, Luke. How about that? How about that one for Taylor Swift? Her biopic. She's going to have to be maybe we can even have her stopping the terrorist plot as Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
She picks up.
Actually, that's such a good point because I don't think anybody has made the connection between Trap and the terrorist, because clearly not. The guys were not inspired by M. Night in any way, but you can imagine. M.
Night inspires me.
Can you imagine we would live in such a different world if the same week this movie about a serial killer at a Taylor Swift concert, the same week a terrorist attack were to happen to Taylor Swift? I mean, remember there was a horrible incident a decade ago with the
Eagles of Death Metal with the terrorist attack.
Oh yeah.
Right, yeah.
Died. Horrible incident.
Here's another one. Remember the Spider-Man trailer with the Twin Towers?
Ariana Grande at a concert too. Many people died as well. Terrible, horrific. But if you imagine what would happen if, like, the same week a movie came out about,
They'd pull it.
Yeah, it would be.
They'd
it
pull
would be like M. Night Shyamalan was this close to sitting before Congress over over like a 30 million, over his like least budgeted movie in a decade or something.
All right, so we got a lot of stuff on the docket here to finish up on. So I'm gonna go ahead and move into our movie reviews. Real Sharks movie review. Okay, so the movie I'm going to be talking about, of course, is Deadpool and Wolverine. It actually topped 900 million so far at the global box office, 903 million to be exact, and it's still trending upwards here. Guys, I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. I feel like this Deadpool movie was for people like me. I think it was for, actually, I'm going to say, dare I say, people like us. I felt like Ryan Reynolds not only delivered a really comedic and well-rounded kind of film, but it captured a lot of franchise lore and things that fans have known and critics like us have known, and almost in a very sad way. So, this, of course, director Sean Levy, writers Ryan Reynolds, Reed Reese, Paul Warnick, stars Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Emma Corrin. I mean, there's a lot of cameos in here, and I'm not going to read the cast because I want a lot of people to go see this movie because it was really good. But I am going to have some spoilers here in my audience, so some of it is going to be spoilers. So what I really enjoyed about this movie, not only was the comedy right on cue. I mean, you had Ryan Reynolds doing Deadpool, and it was great. I mean, from the beginning, did you guys catch the movie yet?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yes.
So from the beginning, so we're gonna be on the same. I hope. Let's see if we're on the same page. So from the opening of the movie, I thought it was great. You had, we had the NSYNC moment and everything like that, which was hilarious. You had Ryan Reynolds at his most funniest, doing these very comedic acts, very great action scenes. Just like all the other movies, it was spectacular action. I was laughing pretty much the whole time. But when you got to the meat of what the story which is about basically the Marvel multiverse that they have, which I'm not really a big fan of. I'm not the biggest Avengers guy. I'm not the biggest everyone should know that, whoever subscribes to listens to podcast. I'm not a big Marvel guy because there is certain aspects of Marvel that they have left out that I always was disappointed in, and this movie kind of captured that. So I really enjoyed the plot of bringing, Wolverine to a new universe, and then Wolverine, of course, has to try. Deadpool is trying to basically save his universe. That's what it's about. It's about basically his Wolverine dying in his universe from Wolverine's movie, which was really good, by the way. I also seen that one. But then it's about basically him finding another Wolverine trying to replace it. But then there's a whole multiverse thing where they get trapped in basically what's equivalent to the Upside Down. Let's be honest here.
Pretty much.
Which is equivalent to the Upside Down.
Thin air. Here's another one.
But when it got there is when I was the most intrigued. And here's the spoilers, because when they brought Blade, actually as Wesley Snipes,
fucking Blade,
I was absolutely stunned. Not only did they bring Blade, they brought Jennifer Garner as Elektra. They brought Chris Evans as Johnny Storm. Mm-hmm. Channing Tatum was Gambit, and we had talked about this prior.
Talked about it,
but it was more than that. The dialogue which was given to us was, I think, one of the more intriguing than anything I've ever seen in the Marvel universe. Because I love how he was talking about, Blade says, "I never got to defend my universe." Because we never had an ending to Blade.
You never
had an ending to Blade. Blade ended at Blade 3. Pat Oswalt had a lot to do with the downturn of that movie. And the fact of the matter is that, unfortunately, I like Pat Oswalt, but, sometimes he really fucks shit up. And that was one of the things he really did, was he fucked up Blade 3 by not giving Wesley Snipes, in my opinion, the respect he needed to deserve, because Wesley Snipes was the man who carried that franchise. And obviously he should probably see that now, because as he said in the movie, there is only one Blade, and it is Wesley Snipes, and no one will ever debate that.
Yeah.
Like you can, that will never, and arguably too, we've talked about this. Without Blade, you would not have these movies today.
Yeah, he's the. I mean, we've said it. You said it, Rob. You said it in the other
movie.
one. It's the trailblazing. He's the one that ushered in.
Comic
I mean,
book.
along with the original X-Men, they kind of were coming out in the early 2000s together. But like Blade was the more like grittier Marvel stuff than like X-Men was doing.
Jennifer Garner speaks about her franchise too. Gambits is the best because spoilers here. I'm a huge Gambit fan. That's one of the reasons I never got into X-Men was because I was so kind of taken back by. I was like, "Where's Gambit?"
And then you see him, and you're like,
part of X-Men. And the fact that Channing Tatum, his lines were, "I never even got the chance." I never even had a chance. And he's like, I'm going to make a name for myself. And then I started thinking of Luke because Deadpool started making fun of his Cajun accent.
Yeah,
and I said, that's exactly what Luke said. Like, are they going to do that? Are they just going to play into it? And they totally did.
I loved his accent too. It's just
the fact that I don't know if Thomas Jane didn't want to sign on, but the fact that Ray Stevenson is dead and that they said the Punisher died fighting, and also too, I don't know if Ben Affleck didn't want to reprise his role as Daredevil, but they said Daredevil died, and I thought that was a good, kind of indication of where those movies are in the franchise. Even Johnny Storm, the fact that he gets killed like that by Deadpool is funny because it's almost like Fantastic Four was a joke. And the Silver Surfer, they mentioned the Silver Surfer, which is one of the biggest, comic characters of all time that Marvel never did anything with. And after the movie tanked, they never did anything with it. And it's like, of course he's dead. Silver Surfer would be dead because of that movie. He's dead.
He's just
so
dead.
it was,
which is funny. That's a good way to do it, Rob. I mean, like if you're not gonna do anything with the character, just say he's dead. It doesn't even matter now.
So I thought there was a lot of good, pull tie-ins to like what the studios have done, not to mention the chiming on Fox, how they basically were laughing and making fun of Fox's demise, how Disney owns Fox. I mean, they pretty much, in all essence, you hear like the Fox Studios and Fox News Network always smashing on Disney, but Disney, I hate to tell you this, they pretty much told Fox, "You are our bitch." in that movie. Like they had the Fox logo like completely in the dirt.
Yeah.
They were pretty much like Fox News, and I thought, well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, pretty much.
Does, you are our bitch. Like that's what it really was. And there was a lot of good, wall breakage, with Ryan Reynolds saying, when they start fighting, let's give the people what they paid for. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff. So I'm taking up the airtime. Luke, what did you think of Deadpool versus Wolverine? Right now, though, let me just say it stands at a 8.1 in the rating, and that's about where I'd give it. I really enjoyed it. I actually liked it over the original Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Luke. Let me
of course, it's now the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. So ultimately, our opinions don't mean anything because the people have spoken. I'll start with what I liked. I liked the banter between Wolverine and Deadpool. This movie called Deadpool and Wolverine. That's what we got. I thought those two were really, really good together. Obviously, very funny. And all of the little bits, all of the callbacks, all the cameos, all of that was extremely fun. It was, again, having Wesley Snipes there, excellent. Having Channing Tatum as Gambit, excellent. Having, getting things like Pyro and the original Sabretooth from the X-Men there as well. All fun. Fight scenes between Deadpool and Wolverine, also super good. And again, I cannot, anything I say cannot also ignore the feelings I felt when Wolverine put the full uniform on.
That was amazing.
When he put that, because I had forgotten that he was doing the full, because obviously the Wolverine costume is great. It's a great look. I'm furious now. I'm furious that it's taken us this long to get there. Obviously, Deadpool made a joke. It's it only took us 20 fucking years.
Yeah, over 20 years, dude.
Yeah, as if people don't think these things are iconic. But that's beside the fact. So yeah, when the mask came out, I was like, oh my god. It was really just, it was so good. But I think there is, the truth is a lot of that is propping up what is functionally an extremely weak, thin plot and story. It really is just a simple, obviously part of it is that this is a buddy comedy and, they're doing like there's elements of a road trip movie, buddy road trip. But it is just like we got to go to one thing to go to one thing to go to one. Like it's just like let's get to the MacGuffin, then we got to do another thing to get to the other MacGuffin, and the plot is not kind of weak, and the multiverse stuff starts to get just very vague and unclear. Cassandra Nova is not all that interesting as a villain, frankly, in the least, and so there is a lot of that is kind of not particularly great. So my fear, obviously, is that once again that they may take the wrong lessons from Deadpool, which I think they've done before, where when both Guardians and Deadpool came out, there was a sense that afterwards they're like, okay, people like these types of movies. What we need in them is to be a bit more like vulgar and raunchy and make more quips. And that's where we get something like the fucking Borderlands movie, apparently. I think that's where we go. So but I liked it. I'm never going to deny that I didn't like it. I'm not going to deny that I wasn't so happy this movie came out, that we got to see a fun, final movie with Hugh Jackman, which again I was a little bit like, I don't know about that, because Logan was a pretty good send-off. That's probably the best way you could have done it. But if you were going to bring him back, this was a good way to do it. But again, my only hesitation...
he said it perfectly. Disney's going to be making you do these movies to your 90.
To your 90, yeah, pretty much.
Fair play for them. But my only fear is that they're going to take the wrong things from the unprecedented, the overwhelming success of this movie, which is like, what we need is more cameos. We need more callbacks. We need, just on the cusp of, once again, people asking, like, are we dealing with superhero fatigue? Here comes a movie that does everything that invokes superhero fatigue, and is super, it blows up. So it's like, I'm worried that they're going to say, what we need is more nostalgia. We need more callbacks. We need more this and that, which...
We need more in sync.
We need more... Well, I mean, I don't...
Yeah.
I will also say that I was more than a little, like... I guess...
The movie was too long, I'll tell you that. That's what I didn't like. It was long.
That's
my last point is I was also just a little bit shruggy at the end credit, because at the end there's a whole, the good.
Oh God, yes.
They played best. They played the good. They played the
times of your life, Green Day.
This song, and there's all the clips of like the Fox X-Men, and I just kind of felt that it just felt forced.
I agree there.
It felt like they were trying to be like, here's the send-off of the Fox shows. And if I'm going to be 100% honest, if I had to look back, as much as I watched those movies and enjoyed them as a child, as a youth, I was kind of just like, I'm just like, I don't know. I didn't really feel the warm fuzzies.
Right.
I know.
Like the first X-Men we saw when we were young, I was like, this kind of sucked. I like it because it's a superhero film, but it kind of sucked.
I liked the first X-Men movie. The second one was pretty good. The third one was garbage.
Last Stand was horrible. And after that, it was bad.
They started to get good again with First Class. I was like, oh, okay, we're back. And then of course what was it? Age of Apocalypse sucked shit.
Yeah.
Then Days of Future Past got kind of good again. And then it was a mixed bag. And then of course there's the Silver Surfer. And then I'm happy for Jennifer Garner that she got a little bit of respect from that role. But
Elektra sucked.
Well, why though? Who cared about that? It's just like, what?
Absolutely, who gives a fuck?
Right. Absolutely.
You know what it would have been? I thought when I was looking at this, Luke, I would have thought like, okay, she's there. Yeah. How cool would it have been if Michael Clark Duncan was alive and he came in? as Mr. Big.
I wish Ray Stevenson was in there as the Punisher.
As the Punisher, like, see what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know you said the Thomas Jane thing, but I was just thinking, like, go all the way. Obviously, you can't. But
Yeah.
I completely agree with both you guys. I'm like, what? As much as I was like happy, I guess, for seeing it, I was just happy seeing it. But I'm also scared, like, the Fantastic Four First Steps movies coming out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are
Let's
they
see if
going
they
to screw that up for
again.
a fourth time? That would be so funny. I don't want to root for anything bad to happen.
Fantastic Four bad movies.
The 4 bad movies. Like, can they screw this up for a fourth time? Like, if they do, leave it alone. You know what I mean? You already.
So, what's our rating for it? I'm gonna give it where it stands. I'm gonna give it an 8. What about you, Steve?
I'll give it an 8.
Luke?
Give it an 8.
This was a 7 when I saw it, but if I saw it again, it would probably jump down to a 6.
Interesting.
Because again, it's fine, it's serviceable, and I'm sure a lot of the jokes. But if you are, if you're Gen Alpha like me, you've already seen it again on TikTok. Every time you've seen all the good parts again on TikTok. So,
okay, fair enough, Gen Alpha.
Doesn't he say that? I'm pretty sure Deadpool calls himself Gen Alpha.
The dog too was hilarious. I just want to give a shout out to that dog.
Ugly dog, yeah.
Yes, that was hilarious.
Who was Nice Pool? The Nice Pool was great.
Yeah, that was funny.
Nice Pool, and let me see. Trying to remember because there were some secret cameos with Deadpool.
There was a lot. Too much to get to here.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So let's go ahead and move in while we got a little bit of time left. Let's move into the House of Dragon review. We're going to give a final kind of finale and season recap of House of the Dragon. So, I texted my fellow co-host when I saw the final episode, and I said, man, all I'm going to say about this is a lot of jaw flapping, not enough wing flapping. That's all I'm going to say, man, because, it was, again, okay, episode 8 was good. 8 was good.
Yeah,
we had some good stuff in there. There was good fights and everything, but this one,
in episode 8.
Yeah, sorry, the one before the finale.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, 7. Was good.
So 7 was good, but of course in Game of Thrones, the episode prior to the finale, the last episode, it's the second to last episode is the finale. It's always been that way, and the next one is always the transition into the next book or next whatever's happened. That's usually how it goes in Game of Thrones. But so I'm going to say this. I thought the episode was good for people that have read the story like us and kind of wanted to see a little bit more in depth of some of the how the writers were going to stretch it out. I'm totally pissed though, Steve, about the vision of Dany in Game of Thrones. Dude, I'm going to say this again to these writers.
Dude.
I'm going to say this again to these writers. We know what you're doing. You are using this great story to justify why everyone thought your ending was crap.
And they're still trying to fix it in a way.
And you're forcing
linking it. And you're forcing us to like it. And which makes me hate it.
Yes, it makes me
I was
hate
like,
it too.
am I seriously looking at? First of all, I know people are making fun of the CGI, White Walker that appeared, and they're like, what the fuck? It looks so stupid. But the whole vision was stupid.
Yeah, the whole vision was dumb.
It was God, that was horrible. I mean, where do we begin, Rob? I mean, I cannot.
Well, we had Larys tell Aegon it's time to get out King's Landing, which happens in the story. This is where Aegon should disappear, and he's pretty much telling him, it's because your brother Aemon is crazy. Aemon is trying to, of course, find a new dragon rider. He actually asks Helena to ride the dragon, which she won't because for those of you who haven't guessed it, she's a little absent-minded, and that's how it happens. And she rides Dreamfire.
Yeah, she rides Dreamfire in the books, by the way.
Yeah, but it's not like she fights with them, though. It's that doesn't happen.
She does ride the dragon, though.
You have the new dragon seeds, which came out, which I told you was going to happen. We were going to have some dragon riders, and then we do. And I can already tell you who's who's going to be the bad one. You can already see that. But Daemon, of course, has gathered his army finally. The River Lords are finally on his side, which is what happens. Although, again, another scene to make Daemon, and I know Luke doesn't agree with me, but to make Daemon look like a bitch, even though we want to say he's a badass anymore.
I mean,
but we also
saw
saw the goddamn three-eyed raven, which I told you guys which was gonna happen. I told you that they are taking a scene from the original Game of Thrones where Bran was supposed to. This is the rumor that Bran was supposed to see the weirwood and see the three-eye and everything through the tree and see, his aunt and Rhaegar marry, but they are switching that scene with Daemon. They're switching that around, and it's really weird.
Please don't do that, because it just confuses the rest of the story. So Daemon, we already complained enough about Daemon's character literally doing nothing the entire season. Now that it's over, we can say equivalently he did nothing. Maybe it was 2 episodes, and then he left when he had that argument, and then at the end he's been in the knee yet again, which is so funny. People said, what happened at the end of the first season and season finale? It was Daemon pledging himself to Rhaenyra, you are the queen, I am behind you 100%, and he had an army. Let's go to war.
Season 2 is the same exact kiss, way. Steve. What happened to the kiss? They kissed in that other show, and then nothing came about it.
Yeah, so they had said that was apparently an actress decision where she's like, you know what? I think that Rhaenyra should kiss her at this point. And they were like, yeah, all right, cool.
I'm just feeling it, Do you mind if I just run up and kiss you right now?
Yeah, this is a horrific story I am telling you right now that you should be mortified. But you know what?
That is Game of Thrones' biggest problem is why do they do these things when it's like, it's not hot. And there's like when Rob is talking to his girl, remember, and she's like, oh, and then I got pulled into the ocean and then the slave saved me. And he's just like, yeah, that gets me going. Keep going. And then they have sex. And then it's the same thing with this. They're talking about war. And then all of a sudden she's like, I'll give you a girl hug, and all of a sudden, just steamy. It's like,
but then
how does this happen?
It's like, Rob, if they were gonna do that, well, then do it. Don't just do the scene and then there's nothing that comes about it. Like there was no they weren't holding hands, they weren't doing any eyes after. They just kissed in an episode and then it was an afterthought. And then
of course we're talking about Rhaenyra and the worm.
Yeah, dude, it was that was bad. Then you have the Tywin, don't forget the Lannisters.
The Lannisters, of course, which is an extended role that was never in the story originally.
Never. This is all new.
They're giving the Lannisters a big time role for some reason. I don't know why.
Because it's the Lannisters and Game of Thrones. Remember the Game of Thrones?
There's no real
because you remember Tywin and you remember Tyrion and you remember it's I do.
We saw Otto chained up as well.
Chained up, yeah.
Don't know why. That's something new.
That was hilarious. I was just so you're just not gonna explain how did Rhaenyra kidnap Otto Hightower and Alicent? Oh my God, this is the icing. You have the jumping of time yet again. What is Alicent doing in Dragonstone? She just shows up too, by the way. She's like, oh, by the way, my guy bend down, he bend the sword, and he just bend,
I just definitely took a cue from the later seasons of Game of Thrones by not even giving a shit about the timeline of getting to the location. They just show up.
Also, nobody immediately capturing her and being like, I'm gonna put her into prison right now. And we can talk behind bars.
And the war would be over here.
It would be over. I captured your mother, you know what I mean? Aemon, get off your dragon or I'm going to kill him.
Aemon put the eye away too, man. What happened with that? They made Aemon go back to the patch, bro.
You have Aemon going back to the patch, Aemon killing innocent people, but maybe, we don't know because we never saw it. He's just sitting on the dragon. We're like, you mean to tell me you introduced a new character, which by the way, Rob, I have something about that character, the pirate character with the Lannisters. We have
I think she's supposed to be, I think it's going to be the replacement for the Red Kraken.
Yeah, I think so too, Rob. And I'm like, if they do that, dude, that is That is so bad because I'm unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. So you have that scene. We spent 10 minutes with one fight, which was that mud fight. That was the entire fight in the season.
Yeah, and then get you going. We got her going.
It's just you have that going, dude, and then you don't give anything, and then you get a talk from Alicent basically going I'll let you kill my sons, as long as you let me and my daughter get out, you can kill my sons. It's fine. It's cool. Are we cool though too?
I mean, we already told you guys what was going to happen in our audience. Rhaenyra eventually, just like in the book, is supposed to just fly to King's Landing and just ride in that bitch and take it over.
And just take it. So is that what's going to happen? Or is
that's what it sounded like Allison told her to do.
What it sounded like you told her? Go in there,
go in there, take it.
Just like,
spare me.
Okay.
And that was sad too, because it was a reverse of what Rhaenyra was doing to her with the whole, spare everything, we can end the war. And it's like, oh, now you're coming back to grovel? But I thought that was interesting because it also kind of gave you a sense of where Rhaenyra's mind truly is. Because as we have said, they have never portrayed her character truly as ambitious as she is in the book. She is an ambitious person. You don't necessarily like Rhaenyra. They've tried a lot to make you kind of like her as the mournful mother that's just trying to capture what is hers. But in the story, the book, she is more of like the ambitious bitch that's trying to get what she deserves. That's all she wants.
She's off for blood and she's super cutthroat. And I can understand it's a TV show. So they're really trying to make characters out of both Allison and Rhaenyra. They're trying to make them both likable. Because
Allison has
she has nothing none of this shit happens.
Yeah.
So I'm not one of these people that it has to be exactly like the books.
No.
I like change. I'm embracing it. But when you have, again, going back to the Lannister thing, I found out about this, that actress is like a YouTuber, some YouTuber, for some reason, right? Just in the show. Why? I don't know. And also introducing a new character in the season finale. So you're looking at this going, what the fuck is going on? Like, what are we going to get to it? Right. And then you just end, and then you're
It doesn't matter. None of this matters because they are not the princes or prince that is promised, Steve. We've established this already. That is what kills the entire goddamn show. Is that none of this matters because they're not the prince that is promised. Oh, Luke, do you have anything to add to the season of of House of Dragon?
No, I didn't actually watch it. I haven't been able to.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
I will say
my thing is that I've seen a lot of reviews about how nothing happens, and I feel that that's a bit that's weird, right? Because
not for Game of Thrones, not the ending wise.
Or just like the whole season where not much happens. It's like
yeah, kind of.
Because it's like they
stretched it out.
Yeah, but it's like there's 8 episodes, but they take like 2 to 3 years in between each season, and it's like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, it used to be. Now, call me an old person, but like it used to be when you made a television show. It premiered on us in September, and it ran until May of the next year. And then you took a break in the summer, and then you were back in September to give us more of that TV show. They did that, and they did that with fantasy shows too. They did with Xena the Warrior Princess. They did that with, now granted, Game of Thrones is a little bit higher budget than Xena Warrior Princess. I'm just saying, guys, either, you do a little bit quicker on the TV show, or you do stuff a little bit more substantive.
On the substantive thing, it's because I'm pretty sure what their plan is, because they're going to roll with Dunk and Egg. They're going to actually do the Tall Night, basically. They're going to run with that spin-off series.
George R.R. Martin basically all but confirmed that there are going to be 7 different adaptations to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I've read some of them. Some of them have been shelved, but the one that's definitely going on
Dunk and Egg is going to... Yeah, Dunk
it's definitely happening. Sure. So I guarantee we'll have alternating seasons of different stories. I guarantee you that's what HBO is going to be doing.
Let's just do one good show. Let's just do one good show with all the stuff.
I'm with Luke.
When you play the Game of Thrones and television, you play to win, Luke.
It's so... yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess... I don't know.
Disney's got their Marvel. HBO's got their Game of Thrones. They're going to shove it and fist hammer it up everyone's throats until we hate it.
And here's the thing, though, is that I see these videos about, like, Game of Thrones lore, and it feels very interesting. But, like, there's... what are they like? They tend to seemingly focus on like the same periods. We're getting into Star Wars territory, where Star Wars is only really interested in the time of right between like episode 1, right until the beginning of episode 7. Like they're only interested in stories that kind of occur
The rest of it is bullshit.
That's
Who cares about farming on Tatooine?
There's absolutely nothing else that could be of any interest. So, I am.
Episode 4. Bobby makes a droid on Tatooine.
There's a very clear losing of the plot going on with HBO. That probably has a lot to do with it moving into Max. That what used to happen was that when Game of Thrones was on and the HBO was what they tried to do after they knew Game of Thrones was winding down was that they tried to find a new marquee show. They tried to do that with Westworld. I think
they're stuck on the juice.
They tried to find something of that. They didn't. So instead, they just tried to find another Game of Thrones. And I think they're better off trying to just simply finding a new thing of the same caliber as Game of Thrones. They could make a sci-fi show.
Instead of turning George R. Martin into Elon Musk here.
Exactly.
It's true. It's like HBO is like they had to bend the knee to him now.
Find another book property. Find something instead of going back to this well that you don't seem to know what to do.
Right.
But then connect it to that well. It's like we don't know what to do with that well. We don't know what's down there, but we're going to connect this show that was doing well. We earned the respect of the people that were completely off in season 1. And it's like, well, season 2, I can understand. I'm all about exposition. That's Game of Thrones. Not everything is going to be action. Right. But it's like, Rob, we are plot, literally,
the scheming.
The scheming, which we're not getting we didn't get a lot in season 2. We just got a lot of nothing.
We got cheese. We got blood and cheese.
We got and then for a couple an episode, and then it's just there's just there's not enough. And I'm not one of it that hates it. I still like the show. I'm still gonna watch it. I know there are people that are they're completely off again, but the show is going to end in 4 seasons. So you're gonna get action. You're gonna get what you want. But at the end, Rob, we can't predict the future, and they are going to make Duncan Egg for sure. What are they going to do as far as connecting this?
So what they're going to do, and Duncan Egg, so once they fuck up this series, they're going to actually make another show in which they talk about how that ending was actually explainable in this story. So in Duncan Egg, we're going to have some shit about dancing the Dances with Dragons and why that shit went down the way it did there.
I think they should do Road Rules, the real world with Westeros. Do that.
Exactly.
Actually, we need Westeros real world.
Here are the 3 places that I've read about or I've learned about in videos about Game of Thrones or that I want to see. First and foremost is High Valyria. High Valyria, where the kingdoms where House Targaryens had fled from. High Valyria. High Valyria, of course, it's like the better kingdom. Yeah, the better kingdom of the better kingdom. Love it. That's so interesting. It's like high magic. The HBO has the budget to do that. Second one, there's supposedly a jungle land with giant gorillas, size of dragons.
It's outside the fucking map. Yeah, it's unexplored.
Let's do that. Let's have Game of Thrones pirates people, soldiers on an expedition. They go to the jungle.
The pirates idea would actually work because there is a lot of stories with the Greyjoys.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's the Greyjoys.
Third one is that this may be in Valeria, but there's supposedly a kingdom that's super haunted.
I think that is Valeria when it's destroyed. Valeria said to be.
Okay, and it's super haunted. It's deeply haunted. There's still a castle there but there's a castle there and nobody knows what's in it, but they think something's in it. But everyone's scared to go there. So
there's the lands of the east too that are really mysterious too.
That are mysterious, and there's people going missing. You can
definitely and everything.
Yeah, so I would say those are the 3 things I'd like because they sound fascinating. So.
Well, what about the Princess Promise, Luke? Don't you find that fascinating? Don't you find the Song of Ice and Fire fascinating, Luke? God, we're only going to shove it down your throat for another.
We're going to shove it down
season
and act like you don't know what's going to happen. All of those things that Luke said really would
also,
work.
The Starks got there fast.
Which That was so funny, dude.
They just show the Starks, man, and they're just marching along. I was like, damn, they just make the North look like it's a hop, skip, and a jump.
It's a hop. Do you know how far it is?
Winterfell is? Winterfell is
it's
far.
like, dude, it's super far, bro.
That's like the whole point of why the South has never invaded the North, is because the North is so vast and so wild.
And the element kill them, but that's besides the point. It's like the thing Luke is saying, all of that on television in HBO would 100% work, but what we would get out of that is, like you were saying, like the High Valyrian, like the haunted stuff. It would probably be like American, Horror Story 2.0. You know what I mean? They'll do something like that, or the land that is a bunch of like apes. Literally, I guarantee you, HBO, because they're, you know how they are right now with the whole King Kong, dude. You might see like a King Kong or Planet of the Apes like showing up in Westeros.
I'd like
you know what I mean? They'll do some like weird crossover and be like, we can make it work. Say hello to my little friend. Kong, it's like.
With the dragons, the dragons got to fight Godzilla and Kong, right? Kong, right?
And everybody's going to agree with it,
So I'm going to give this season of Game of Thrones probably a 6. I thought it was 6.5. I thought it was okay. There was some good stuff, but beyond that, it was what was great was great. What was bad was pretty much everything else. So, what'd you guys get? What would you give it, Steve?
Exactly. I would probably get a 6. That last one knocked it down.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So that has been this episode of the Real Sharks Podcast. Of course, it has been your host, Rob, saying goodbye to you with his current co-host, Steve and Luke.
Yo.
So saying goodbye from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Please catch us on Pod Nation TV and make sure you listen, like, and subscribe wherever podcasts are found, and we will catch you on the flip side.